Hello there my RPG lovers and welcome to another video. If you played Outward before or if you plan to play it, you should know that there are three main factions in the game, which means that in order to see everything that this game has to offer, you will need to complete 3 playthroughs with 3 different characters because each of these factions have their own quest lines. Once you join one faction, you can choose to join another, so bear that in mind if you are new to this game. One of them is called Blue Chamber Collective, and this video will be all about that certain faction, which means that I will show you how to complete the game's main quest with this faction and all the different outcomes and consequences that could happen while doing the main quest. It goes without saying that this video will contain major spoilers for the game, so be warned. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content about RPGs, and let's start this guide. Each faction in Outward has 4 major quest lines and Blue Chamber Collective is no exception. In order to join this faction, or any other faction for that matter, you will first need to complete some introduction quests: Castaway, Call to Adventure and Looking for the Future. These 3 quests serve as an introduction to the game before you join a faction, but I want to include them in this guide as well because they won't take long. That being said, let's start our first quest called Castaway. Nothing too fancy here, you start a new game and this is your first quest. You have 2 options to complete it, and one of them is simply by using a bedroll near our buddy Yazan, or you can get defeated by these hyenas. Once that is done, you'll get teleported to the first city and your first quest is done. After you go outside and finish the conversation with the people of Chiezo, your main quest will update and you'll get a Call to Adventure quest. Now this is the first quest in the game that has a time limit on it, and you will have 5 days to complete it successfully or you will lose your house in this city. There are a few ways of completing this quest, but the easiest way is to get 1 bandage or a potion, then leave the city through the storage area. Follow the coastline until you find a guy called Michael and then offer to help him, but make sure that you have the bandage or a health potion in your inventory. He will then give you 1 writ of tribal favor, and this will be enough to finish Call to Adventure quest and get your house back. Head back to the city and talk to Risa in her house, but this time around you will need to go around this hill because you won't be able to go back through the cave for obvious, slightly racist reasons actually. Once you talk to Risa, she'll give you your house back and the third quest will begin. Looking for the Future quest is basically the turning point for your character in Outward. Risa will first tell you to talk to your friends in town before they leave the city. You'll find Oliel near the main square and Yazan can be found near the beach. All 3 of these main characters are part of a different faction. Once you're done talking to Oliel and Yazan, go back to Risa again. Oliel will go to Monsoon in Hollow Marsh, Risa will decide to go to Berg in Enmakar Forest, and Yazan will go to Levant in Abrasar Desert. Like I said, they all represent different factions, so now you will have a choice to make. Before joining one of the factions, you can freely talk to all of them and then choose to decide. Since we're going with the Blue Chamber Collective, our mission is to go to Berg in Enmakar Forest and talk to Risa again. I won't cover all the traveling in this video because that would be insane actually, so I hope that you can find your way around the map. It just requires a bit of attention, it's not that hard. However, if you're having troubles, you can install a mod that will always show your location on the map. I showcased this mod in a video and I also showed how you can install it. You can find that in the description or by clicking on this card. I don't recommend installing it on your first playthrough though, but it's nice to have options. Anyway, once you get to Berg, you will find Risa down the main road. Once you select the first option, she will tell you that you'll need approval from another family to be able to adopt you into the Aberdeen family. You will have 3 different characters on this quest that you can choose to impress. All of them will put you on a test before they give you their approval, but you'll only need one of them of course. If you choose to help Gabriella, you'll need to bring her some predator bones which are looted from hyenas. Julius will give you a quest to unlock your mana in Conflux Mountain by taking the Blue Chamber Conflux path and then bring him the proof. He will reward you with a Clan Sage robe, and Sagard will ask you to bring him any kind of elemental rag that you can craft, find or buy. It's really easy to craft a fire rag, you will only need some linen cloth and thick oil, which are really common materials. Now of course you can choose whoever suits you the best here, but since I already had some fire rags, it was an easy choice for me, so I went with Sagard. Go back and talk to Risa again and she will adopt you to the family and give you some rewards, including the key to cellar in Chiezo. Your quest log will update and you'll get the first faction quest called Mixed Legacies. Hooray! Risa will then tell you about the conflict of interest that bothers the collective, and there will be a meeting in the Blue Chamber that you should attend. When you get there, Risa will tell you to get a feel of the atmosphere and talk to all of them, but you can actually only talk to one person of your choice and then talk to Risa again to progress. She will then tell you that the representatives of Levant will be at the inn, and of course, as a good boy that you are, like our buddy Jim, you will do as you asked. But when you leave the Blue Chamber, you will hear a large explosion that seemed like it came from there. When you go back to the chamber, you will see most of the guys on the floor, but Gabrielle and our ex dual-wielding badass are fighting some assassins. Once you deal with them by yourself, because let's face it, these guys are pussy, you talk to Gabriella and she will tell you that those dogs have kidnapped Risa and Balthazar. Who is Balthazar, you may ask? No one fucking knows, don't ask stupid questions. Anyway, they took them in Necropolis, which is this huge cave underneath this place. You should prepare for this, but it's nothing really hard, just some bandits and these fucking bugs. When you get to the cliff, you jump down, deal with this ungodly thing, then talk to Balthazar and ask his note what happened. After you finish reading the note, you will find out that they took Risa as a prisoner in an area called Burnt Forest. You will also get an optional objective to kill the mercenary leader if you so desire. But even if you don't do this, it won't affect anything, at least to my knowledge, and Outward Wiki doesn't say anything more about this. Head over to Burning Forest, which is to the south when you leave Berg. Once you get to Burning Tree, just continue forward and you can't miss this bandit outpost. Get ready to fight a couple of somewhat tougher bandits, talk to Risa and free her, and you can choose to free this guy as well so he can give you some free stuff. Why not? To finish this quest, go back to Berg and talk to Risa. She will declare the war on Heroic Kingdom because they probably issued this attack, and then you'll get the second major quest called Ash Giants. The whole point of this quest is to try and recruit Ash Giants to Blue Chamber Collective. You will find the village of Ash Giants in Hollow Marsh, not too far away from Monsoon, and you also have it on your map. Once you enter the village, talk to their leader called High Lord Seer. And of course, he will want you to prove him that you're a badass before he even thinks of negotiating with you. He wants some rare plant that grows in one dangerous cave located right at the center of the map. There should be a couple of them in this cave, but I'll show you how I got this one and the path that you should follow once you get into the cave. Once that is done, you will have a choice to make. If you wish to convince the High Lord Seer to accept your offer without fighting him, you will have to talk to another giant in this village called Gold Belly, and you will also need to find a book that contains information about the culture of the giants that is located in the Under Islands south of Giants Village. If you do these two optional quests before you return and start your negotiation, you will end up convincing the giants to join you, and you will get a unique passive ability called Blood of the Giants that increases your health by 40 points. And you'll also get this giant kind Great Axe. But if you don't read the book, but you still get the route in time and talk to Goldbelly, you will end up fighting High Lord Seer with Goldbelly's help. If you succeed, they will exile High Lord Seer for 20 years. However, if you bring the route too late, you will end up failing the quest and giants won't accept to join the Blue Chamber Collective. Once this is done, go back to Berg and talk to Risa again. You will trigger the third major quest called Whispering Bolts. Risa will then ask you to join the Cryptelia. According to Outward's wiki, Cryptelia governs the Blue Chamber using the ancestor memories that are enshrined by several founding members of Blue Chamber. One member of Cryptelia, Lady Scarlet, has been leeching power from ancestor memories, so you and Roland will need to stop her. If you didn't know already, Roland Arginson is the youngest brother of Yazan. Anyway, before we begin, you should know that this quest has 3 outcomes, and it will all depend on how you treat Roland in the dialogue options and if you do the optional quest for him. Risa will tell you to go talk to Gabriella Sullivan, who will then tell you that Roland is on his way to unlock mana in Conflux Mountain and that you should go and help him. The Blue Chamber path to Conflux is not hard to find. Once you start climbing the mountain, you will see a separate path that leads to the entrance. Roland will be right at the end of the path, the same place where or if you unlock your mana. You will find Roland injured, and please remember that talking to him will impact the outcome of the whole quest. I decided to be good to Roland because I felt sorry for the guy. He will then tell you that he'll need to pick up something from the Starfish Cave, which is close to Cierzo in Chersonese. It's actually close to the coastline from the beginning where we found our guy for the quest to get our house back, remember? There's a catch to this quest because you won't be able to access the second part of the cave if you don't come at the right time. That should be close to midnight, and once you enter you will see that the water disappeared. Be sure to pick up all the blue sand that you can find here because you might need it if you decide to do an optional quest. Proceed deeper in the cave and you will find Roland, but be ready to fight one mantis shrimp here. Once you talk to Roland, go back to Gabriella and she will give you the quest to kill Green Horror in Cabal of the Winds dungeon located southwest in Ermakar Forest. Before that, if you talk to Roland, he'll ask you to help him to control his mana, and that's how you get his optional quest. If you choose to ignore this quest, but you treat Roland very nice in every dialogue, you will get a mediocre ending, but if you care to get the best outcome with more rewards, you will decide to do this quest for him. I'll show you all the outcomes at the end of this quest. Anyway, if you decide to do this quest, you will need to speak to Talaron in Berg, who is standing near the blacksmith. He will need some blue sand, a mana stone, and an emerald or a ruby to make Roland's focus tool, which will help him to control his mana. Emerald and rubies can be randomly acquired from the loot containers, or you can buy them as well. You should have the blue sand if you picked up some of them in that cave before. Once that is done, make your way to Cabal of the Winds. When you get there, you can just pass by this Immaculate and enter the cave. You should know that this fight is not easy and you'll need some strong weapon, spell or a bow. Once you kill this thing, take the Green Horror Shell trophy and go back to Gabrielle. You should watch out, because if you lose this trophy you will need to wait 2 days for Gabriella to confirm that you actually killed this thing. Gabriella and Roland will then go to Ancestor Memories below Brew Chamber in Necropolis. You on the other hand will be sent to the inn to talk to Julius. When you get there you will see that he is dead, killed by Sigrid. Make your way to Necropolis and you'll find Gabriella injured with a barrier blocking further way in. In order to remove this barrier, you will need to burn Grease Fern plant at Sutherland's and Aberdeen's family altar. If you don't have this plant, you can find plenty here just by searching the rooms, but expect some ghosts to fight. After you're done, go further down Necropolis, where you'll find Roland. His goal is to banish Scarlet Lady from the Ancestor Memories, and like I said, there are 3 outcomes for the quest. The best case scenario is when Roland becomes a Lich, combined with Ancestor Memories and Whispering Bones, turning him sort of a hive mind. If this is the case, you will be able to choose between Ancestor Memories or Lantern of Souls as your reward. This scenario should be triggered if you always stuck nicely to Roland and if you did that optional quest for him. I think I actually did all of this, but I still got the second outcome described as mediocre. I must did something wrong, can't really tell what. The mediocre outcome is when Roland successfully contains Scarlet Lady but he will die and your only reward will be the Lantern of Souls. That's the outcome that I got. And the worst case scenario, Roland will contain Scarlet but he will be possessed by her and you will be forced to fight him. You'll get absolutely no rewards if this is the case. The Outward Wiki has this to say about the outcomes. The game dictates outcomes based on 2 variables: how well you've interacted with Roland and whether you completed the optional objective for Roland. First variable is Whispering Bones focus, which has 8 as its maximum value. The higher the value, the better the outcome will be. If you never cheered Roland up or cheered him a little, and even though you've given him the trinket to control his mana better, you will be forced to fight him. If you made some attempt on cheering Roland up, you will get the mediocre scenario. If you made a lot of attempts cheering Roland up but did not complete the optional quest, you will get the mediocre scenario. If you made no attempts / little attempts cheering Roland up, you will get the worst case scenario. And that should complete the Whispering Bones. Back to Risa in Berg, she will then give you the last faction quest called Ancestral Peacemaker. The war between Heroic Kingdom and Blue Chamber Collective is getting worse to the point that Elet himself has to interfere. Elet is basically the god of discipline and the leader of the Holy Mission faction. Your task will be to try and convince Sagard Battleborn, Mount Colm tribe and Ash Giants that peace is the only option. After you talk to Risa, head over to the inn and talk to Sagard. In this situation you will have 2 possible options. If you provoke him with the aggressive response, he will attack you and you will need to beat him in order to convince him. He can be really tricky to beat and he has quite a bit of health. The other method would be to offer him a Sar Stone. It's one of the most expensive and unique items in the game that you can use to make Sar armor and Sar weapons. Once you're done, head over to Chersonis to Mount Colm clan. Their fort is marked as Bandit Camp on the north. Since this guy is a nutjob and he only trusts ghosts, in order to convince him you will need to tell him that ghosts will never be satisfied and that he will eventually have to start feeding them his own people. But I actually didn't want to talk reason with this scum, so I intentionally chose the wrong option. And last but not least, we have to convince the giants. As you can probably guess by now, this will depend on your previous actions. If you manage to get them on your side, they will gladly accept without you needing to talk much. Now you continue on the path to Monsoon to the temple where the meeting will be set. All of the important characters will be here, and even Elath himself with all his bling. You will find out that Queen Calixa is poisoned and she's close to dying from the corruption. Elath will then say that the only option for her to survive is to become some sort of a goddess, and she'll gladly accept, because dying sucks apparently. Since my jokes are progressively getting worse, I'll stop now. The whole process of Calixa's ascension will attract the Beast of the Scourge, and Elath informs the group that you should get ready and defend Monsoon. You will need to go outside, find all the Scourge beasts and defeat them with your allies. It goes without saying that these fights can be tough, but if you manage to get to this point, you should be well geared. Once you manage to defeat them, go back to Rissa, she'll have some really unique rewards for you, and she'll basically tell you to fuck off now, do your thing or whatever. And that's it, you completed the main story, hooray! You can retire now, go read a book in one of your houses, or fight a divine being naked if that's your thing. Don't forget to press the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel for more RPG stuff. You can also join my Discord server where we chat about RPGs and games in general. Many thanks to my Patreons, and if you as well want to support me there, I'll leave all the links in the description. See ya in the next one.